Boxing truth here. Jermall Charlo has just been passed over by WBC in the recent convention WBC is holding this week, and they have made a decision that they want an immediate rematch with Gennady Golovkin and Canelo Alvarez. That's an important issue because that frees up Golovkin of any mandatory obligations, at least with the WBC. I don't know what's the story with WBA or the IBF, but I'm pretty sure the IBF and WBA will work with Golovkin in order to make the best fight possible for him and his career, and also the sanctioning bodies when it comes to sanctioning fees. And that's a rematch with Canelo. Now, Jermall Charlo, he just pretty much been deemed unworthy of a title shot, a WBC title shot, even though he's the #1 contender. He's next in line, and he fought for that position when he fought a one-legged Sebastian Hyland. Not his fault. Hyland came into the fight injured, decided to go and just take the payday and not even give an honest effort. And as a result, Jermall Charlo was left with a wounded opponent, and it took him 5 rounds to dispatch of him, and that's how he earned his #1 position. And in WBC, they decided that Jermall Charlo was unworthy because of that fight, because of how it went down, even though the WBC hasn't enforced a mandatory of that title in the middleweight division in it's been 5 years now and in counting. It's been 5 whole years since a mandatory defense was made within the WBC in the middleweight division. That was last made by Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. when he defended his title in a mandatory defense against somebody. I forgot who it was. Maybe it was Matavilla. It was 5 years ago and counting. And that's an issue that needs to be resolved, but I can see why WBC pushed Jermall Charlo to the side. They didn't see him as worthy enough. He needs to do a little more, needs to get in another fight. So much for that momentum for Jermall Charlo has pretty much went by the wayside. He knocked out an overrated Chinny, Merrill Bum, and Julian Williams. People thought that was a great win. It was a decent win, but Julian Williams, what the hell has he accomplished in his career? Nothing. So it was a fight he was supposed to win. He was the favorite, slight favorite, going into that fight. Wasn't really surprised to beat Julian. Julian has been protected throughout his career, and he couldn't even take a little jab and got knocked down in the fight against Jermall Charlo. Jermall exposed his weak chin, and now he took off for about 7 months. No momentum because Heyman has struggling with defined dates. He's losing fighters one by one. Carl Frampton signed with promoter. Danny Jacobs. It's being thrown out there that Heyman is out when it comes to his career. That he's not even involved, and he's simply just showing some respect, saying that Heyman is still involved. So there's some things going on with Heyman's crew. I mean, you got the Heyman fanboys saying that no, he's being smart. He's using Eddie Hearn as a pawn. Eddie Hearn ain't no sham promoter, dog. And since when does Al Heyman fighters sign with a fucking promoter? When? That's not how Heyman conducts his business. He doesn't want his fighters to sign with promoters. The issue is that he doesn't have any dates. The fighters are getting a little antsy. They're not being active. They're not making any money. So of course, other fighters are gonna pretty much jump ship and look for the best opportunity out there. So Jermall, who knows if he's even gonna fight again this year. And it will be another lost year in his career. I mean, if he only fights one time and he was on an undercard fighting a wounded fighter in Sebastian Hyland, no momentum going forward. The momentum from the Julian Williams his fight is gone, and now he's just been he's just pretty much just been pushed to the side by WBC, deemed him as unworthy, not worthy of a title shot against Gennady Golovkin. And Golovkin, he's gonna go on and take that rematch. I mean, what other fighters out there? I mean, why fight Saunders? Saunders is coming off a weak performance. I mean, he beat Monroe, but what was impressive about that fight? Is there any real money in that fight? Especially when it comes to a Canelo, compared to a Canelo fight? What will be another big event? Golovkin's team will be stupid not to take the rematch especially considering the big time performers are pretty much gone when it comes to Golovkin. I don't see Golovkin having any more big time performances. And Canelo, he's gonna end that. He's gonna end that run. It should have ended this past couple of weeks, a couple of weeks ago. But the draw was the result. And if the rematch occurs in May, Canelo is gonna end the Golovkin Express. He's gonna end that reign, this time even more definitively. So if Golovkin's gonna take an L, he might as well take one to Canelo. And as for Jermall, I don't know what the hell he's gonna do. He's gonna have to wait in line for his shot, and he's gonna have to wait a long time, since the Golovkin Canelo rematch won't take place until May. The latest, possibly even the earliest. Still open to discussion for an earlier date, but there are some opponents for Jermall in the middleweight division to keep busy. He needs a better, more credible win in order to entice the WC to enforce the mandatory as soon as possible. The issue is there's some guys that are just not available. David Lemieux most likely will fight Miguel Cotto in an in-house fight for Cotto's last fight. Danny Jacobs is with Eddie Hearn now. He's an HBO fighter now. Don't see that fight happening anytime soon. Dervadenko is the IBF #1 contender. He's gonna wait for his shot with the IBF. Matt Korobov is rated. I have no idea when's the last time he fought. Hugo Centeno is #7. He's coming off a decent win, knocking out Emmanuel Lim. Antoine Douglas is #8. He's a doable fight. Andy Lee is out there. Curtis Stevens is out there. He just needs another fight to stay busy, get some more credibility in the middleweight division. I mean, it was a bad debut for him. I mean, not his fault, but it was pathetic what happened that night and in the card, and where Jermall had to fight this one-legged guy, and it really didn't do anything for his career. So who knows when Jermall Charlo fights again? I would hope the end of the year, but I pretty much doubt it. There's a lot of other Heyman fighters that need dates, and the Heyman ship is sinking fast. Let's see who else decides to jump ship from Al Heyman in the coming weeks. Perhaps Adrian Broner will be the next big name. But as for Jermall, he's got to be patiently waiting, as he's pretty much in limbo, at a standstill with nowhere to go, as Golovkin holds all 3 straps, Billy Joe Saunders has a WBO, and Canelo is the money man, and all those guys are not going to be in the sights of Jermall Charlo. You oust out, dog. You ain't getting no title shot anytime soon. Might as well keep busy as much as you can and fight the top contenders until you finally get your title shot sometime late next year. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.